All right, we've got a special Sundays with Serby this week because the legendary New York Post sports columnist Steve Serby did a Q&A with the 5 inductees into the Mets Hall of Fame this year. The inductees are Howard Johnson, Gary Cohen, Howie Rose, Jay Horwitz, and Al Leiter, and the future New York Post sports Hall of Famer. That would be Steve Serby. He joins me now. Steve, always good to talk to a Hall of Famer like yourself on a Sunday. How's it going?
Well, you're too kind. Likewise. It's going great. Looking forward to answering all your questions. I know you have many about this Mets Hall of Fame Q&A.
Yeah, we don't get to always talk about multiple people, but we're going to be able to do that this week. So last year, I want to talk about Jay Horwitz, because we did a video about the Mets PR legend when you did a Q&A with him last year. How does Jay feel about being inducted into the team's Hall of Fame?
Oh, Jay's over the moon. He's look, he was the mother hen for all these Mets players starting in 1980 when he got the job, when Frank Cashin hired him and Jay spilled orange juice during the interview all over Cashin's pants. But he still got the job because they were looking for someone irreverent, someone who could bring some positive publicity to a team that badly needed positive publicity. He was there for Doc Gooden. He was there for the highs and lows of Doc Gooden and the highs and lows of Darryl Strawberry. He was there at the beginning when David Wright came up, when Jose Reyes came up. And of course, he was in Davey Johnson's office the night the Mets rallied in Game 6 and forced a Game 7 and won that 86 World Series. So, but he's a guy, look, he grew up in New Jersey. His one regret was not being able to secure an endorsement from Howard Johnson's, the hotel and restaurant for Howard Johnson. But he tried, and knowing Jay, I think he's still trying. But look, here's a kid who is fond of the fact that he couldn't play Little League. He booted every ground ball that was hit to him for Epstein Department Store, and now his father is up in heaven, looking down on Jay Horwitz, Hall of Fame Met.
His father is very proud. I'm going to come back to you on the Howard Johnson deal. We're going to get back to that in a second. But for Mets fans, it'll come as no shock that both TV and radio play-by-play announcers Gary Cohen and Howie Rose will be enshrined. Why do both men feel that the other is a Hall of Famer?
Well, Howie Rose calls Gary Cohen the most proficient baseball announcer there is and a superior technician. He's a master of his craft. He's a Queens kid whose dream was to announce for a major league team, and what a dream come true it has been for him to announce for his hometown team. He was the kid sitting up in section 48, row R, watching the Mets sweep the Braves in '69 on their way to the World Series win over the Orioles. He went down to the field, took a piece of the turf, put it in a plastic bag, and then brought it to a shed in the backyard of his mother's home. So Gary Cohen is as good as it gets. Howie Rose is correct about that. And Gary Cohen talks about Howie Rose in the same reverential manner. Greatest repository and historian for Mets fandom. And that's very true, because Howie Rose was a guy who grew up in Queens. He was outraged by the Tom Seaver trade. He was 15 years old when he saw Seaver take a no-hitter into the 9th inning against the Cubs. Jimmy Qualls broke it up. To this day, he doesn't think Seaver is appreciated the way he should be appreciated. And he'll never forget being able to utter the words, "The Mets win the pennant in 2015. So again, same as Gary Cohen, he gets to broadcast for his dream team as a child. What's better than that?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Remarkable career for both of those guys who will be enshrined into the Mets Hall of Fame. Now, Al Leiter, I want to talk to you about him. He was a part of those Mets teams of the late 90s and the World Series team in 2000. How does Leiter reflect on his time in Flushing?
Well, Al Leiter grew up in New Jersey, a Mets fan, lifelong Mets fan. His older brother, John, actually wanted to be Tom Seaver. Of course, a lot of kids who grew up in that era did. But in '99, Al Leiter is remembered today for that two-hit shutout in that sudden death game in Cincinnati that got the Mets to the playoffs. And then in Game 5 of the 2000 World Series, convincing Bobby Valentine to keep him out there, and Al Leiter tried to will the Mets past the Yankees in that Game 5 through 142 pitches, told Dave Wallace, the pitching coach, and Bobby V that, look, the next pitch I throw is going to be in Port St. Lucie. Let me finish this. And they gave him that opportunity. So kudos to Al Leiter. He pitched with an edge, and he was a self-admitted lunatic on the mound at times. But what a heroic Met who will be remembered for a long, long time. And his father passed away, and his father also will be looking down on him next Saturday during the Hall of Fame ceremony.
Yeah, very proud of what Leiter did too, known as a gamer by many Mets fans. Before we get out of here, Steve, I got to ask you about, you mentioned the Howard Johnson deal. For the Howard Johnson, for people who don't know, was a hotel chain. I believe it still exists. I'm not exactly sure about that. But Hojo was trying to get a deal. You brought this up about Jay Horwitz trying to get him that endorsement with Howard Johnson Hotels. Did Hojo want this as well? And how did this not go down? It felt like it was perfect. How did this not go down?
Well, you'll have to talk to the Howard Johnson Hotel people. It's mind-boggling why it didn't go down, because Howard Johnson 3 times was a 30-30 guy, switch hitter, 30 home runs, 30 stolen bases. I mean, the guy post-86 was one of the Mets, if not the Mets' best player for a while, until the Goodens and the Strawberries and that crew arrived, and truly arrived. But Howard Johnson was a heck of a player, and Jay's one regret, and he'll tell you this, is he could not get that endorsement. And Howard Johnson's own father wondered why he couldn't get a Howard Johnson's endorsement. It was unbelievable. It was like Dexter Henry not getting an O. Henry bar endorsement.
Well, that hasn't happened either. O. Henry people, y'all could call me. We can make this happen. Like this can. I do agree with you. It's on the same level. It's pretty bad. It's got.
Yeah. Well, maybe you can get a Howard Johnson's endorsement if Howard Johnson can't.
I don't think that's happening. I don't think that's happening. I feel like it's a deal that should have gone down. I think you agree with me on that, Steve. It should have went down, but it did not.
Oh, no question. I mean, I remember Howard Johnson's. My buddies and I used to go for the all-you-can-eat chicken. Do you remember that or no?
I do not remember that. Sounds like you had good times. Good times enjoying the all-you-can-eat chicken.
Yeah, no, I miss Howard Johnson. So, by the way, you didn't even notice I'm wearing blue and orange today in honor of the Mets Hall of Fame.
I did not notice. I was a little disappointed that it's not a flannel shirt. It's a little too warm for the flannel now, though.
Well, no, it's never too warm for the flannel for me. But I just wanted a special tribute. My blue and orange Mets gear today.
There you go.
Even though I look like hell.
No. You look great as always, Steve, and we appreciate the blue and orange. That's the legendary New York Post Sports Hall of Famer, trying to let everybody know. Steve Serby, check out his Q&A with the 5 Mets going into the Mets Hall of Fame this year. Next Saturday, that will go down. That is June 3rd, and we'll have a lot to talk about around that. Steve, as always, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dex. It was fun.